True. Greetings, everybody. We are live and in colour. And welcome to another episode of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Tonight, we're going to be carrying on from, obviously, for last week, where we had a battle going on. Everyone was involved in that. Turns out that I was using the new D&D Beyond initiative tracker, and we exited the website, and there's no save function on it yet, so we lost all the initiative. But I managed to, with a little bit of help from some of the players, remember what the order was, write it down, so I've been able to redo it for tonight. No real announcements regarding the D&D. Obviously, we've had a few. Those in the Discord will know that we're shutting down Evil's Lair Discord for live gaming and going over to the Bowl Community Discord. So make sure that you are joined over there before the end of the month. Otherwise, you'll all get booted out of Evil's Lair. The Evil's Lair Discord has been renamed to Dungeons and Dragons, and it'll be strictly D&D Discord. So only the D&D players will be remaining in that Discord after the end of the month. So, without any more distractions or further ado...
We lost somebody in Discord.
Did we?
He's back.
He's back.
Okay.
He's back! So just briefly, we made an adjustment to Het's loot, so I fixed up something on that for him. Fiela, I made an adjustment to Begilia's cloak, so to clarify how that works. So make sure you give that a read through if you haven't already. And yeah, so apart from that, we should be good to go. So, recap from last week. You continue your journey towards the Bastion, travelling for another day. During that day's travel, Fiela asked Sadiq about courting rituals with his race. Mild... no worries, Baz. I'll just run through we'll wait for the recap. Baz is restarting Discord. He's having some issues. Everyone else in Discord, you hearing everything okay?
Yep.
Fiela, Sadiq?
Yep.
Cool. So it must be just Het then. So we'll just wait for Het to come back before we carry on with the recap. Chat, welcome back for another week. Hopefully we'll have some more interesting roleplay this evening. We've got a battle to resolve firstly and foremost, obviously. But yeah, it should be fun.
Home and name, huh? Home and name.
Home and name, yep. And welcome back to Het. Is that any better? Can you hear us?
So far, I can hear you.
Good. Right, so Fiela asked Sadiq about some courting rituals with his race. Some mild BDSM ensued, choking and such. As you got closer to the Bastion's boundaries, the land started to show signs of the darkness. Trees were dying, grasslands darkened and grey, rivers and lakes starting to dry up, and what water is there is stagnant and undrinkable. Also, the area is void of life. You get within maybe a few miles of the estate and decide that it would be prudent to leave the horses and proceed on foot. Alessandros then scouts around for a suitable place to hide them. It was then decided, after a bit of discussion, that Inarie's exhaustion needed to be addressed, and you struck camp and waited a day before proceeding. Fiela cast Wild Growth and provided some cover and food source for the horses, which turned out provided a food source for you as well, with Sadiq hunting down some nuts and fruit and bits and pieces. During the first night, Fiela continued her inquiries about courting rituals by asking Alessandros about changelings. Het also inquired about trapping beavers with Alessandros. During the next night's watch, several of you heard distant groaning. Rest of the night went without incident. Sadiq and Alessandros discussed the death of the thieves' den, and Sadiq made some assumptions based on the information that he received with a minor illusion as well. The next day, Sadiq and Alessandros travelled to the Bastion and scouted the main entrance, discovering a tent and a campfire. The home looked dark and empty, not in complete ruin, but definitely in a state of disuse. While waiting for them to return, the rest of you stayed at the camp. Fiala studied her Dwarvish. Het asked Inarie to teach him some traps, which she did. Het was a quick study and learned very quickly. That evening, Het, during Inarie's watch, attempted to sneak into Fiala's tent to learn some Elvish. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I say attempted, he thought he'd done so successfully, but upon returning to his own tent was confronted by Inarie. Words were exchanged, and with Inarie speaking Het's native tongue, by the end of the exchange, a mutual respect had been reached. In the morning, you all reached the Bastion's main entry, all stealthed with the aid of Inarie's Pass Without a Trace spell. Alessandros tried to find out who or what was in the tent, and approached and heard some strange chanting coming from within. Attempted to cut a hole in the tent. The chanting stopped. Alessandros retreated. A woman then appeared from the entrance. After a brief dialogue with Het, disappeared back inside. At this time, Sadiq's amulet started to glow, and a couple of strange mists had started to form. With that, Sadiq initiated combat. You managed to kill one of the strange mists, and 2 old crones also entered the fray. Some of you were deafened by a piercing howl, and this is where we rejoin the Lions with the top of the round initiative order with Fiala. So we will switch over to Zai battle map. And as you can see, we have on the field, we have a mist still in play. We have a couple of old crones. Got Fiala, Het, and Sadiq at the back there. Alessandros and Inarie over by the stump. Het, and I believe it was Inarie that was... Inarie or Alessandros? Alessandros was deafened. And Het. Both have the deafened condition. So we will start up our moose hack. And our small battle noises. Holy crap. Loud small battle noises. That's a big battle, not a small one. We'll just reduce the volume on that a little bit. So, top of the round with Fiala. We are involved in this battle.
I would like to touch my cloak and summon aid. Can you hear me?
Creatures. What color are you going to summon?
I think I can only do one color.
Actually, I
with
think
my
you
cloak.
can too. Yes, we did. We did discuss that. Whereabouts would you like to summon it? Right next to you? I think you can place it within 30 feet of your current position.
Yes, where it can defend me against the one in front of me.
Oh crap.
Hit.
So, as Fiala touches her cloak and mutters some druidic words that none of you understand, a silver drake appears at her side. I believe you have the stats for that in your extras as well.
Yes.
So, yes, the rest of your turn. I think that was an action to do that.
Yeah, that's an action. As a bonus action, can I cast a spell? Because I think the cloak's just an equipment.
Yep, you can.
isn't it?
Yeah, bonus action you can cast a spell because the cloak is a separate thing on it. It's not a spell or anything like that. So you can cast a leveled spell as a bonus action if you have a bonus action leveled spell to cast.
Yes, I'm gonna cast Healing Spirit 2nd level on top of it's a Fey, and it's gonna be a Fey stag that heals in the same square as the person, and I can move it around. So I'm gonna put it on top of Het.
I'm gonna find my stag.
Well, it's gonna be in the same space, so maybe I don't know if we can do that or a circle around him or something.
I'll just put him next to him. But we know that it's part of the same square as Het at the moment. So Het, a ethereal stag, then appears pretty much almost surrounding you. And how much does that heal? Does it heal instantly, or is it...
It says I heal it when it hits, and then every time at his turn start, he gets 1d6 hit.
Okay,
health points.
so make your first heal, because you've cast it, so it'll heal as it surrounds him.
So that's a 5.
So you get 5 HP hit.
Why, thank you.
And that would be your turn, I would imagine.
That is it.
So next we have Inarie, who
Right.
is deafened. No, you're not deafened.
No, I'm not. I am going to use... I'm going to cast Hail of Thorns.
Hail of Thorns on yourself, bonus action.
Yep. I'm also going to use my Sharpshooter feat.
And you sharpshooter, no worries. So
And
take a
I'm going
-5 to hit.
-4. Yep.
And who are you attacking?
The thing attacking Fiala.
So the hag attacking Fiala. Okie dokie. Make your attack.
Nat 20. So that makes 24 to hit.
Oh,
A natural 20 on a -5.
Yeah. So that would be 24 to hit.
You got to take 5 off that though. Well, no, it's 29, isn't it? Is your normal?
Yeah, it would be
yeah.
29.
So nat 20. First roll of the night, guys, and we get a nat 20. Holy crap!
And I get 2 things. So do I roll for the second one?
You get 2 what?
2 attacks.
How do you get 2 attacks?
It's a part of one of my feats.
If you didn't say you were using it, that's the problem. Is it? That's part of your racial, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of my racial. You can attack twice when you attack the attack.
Okay, your microphone you need to fix. It is staticky as all hell.
Okay, it says you can attack twice whenever you take the attack action on your turn.
Your first attack, yes? Not whenever you take the attack action. It's the first attack of the round.
No, it just says you can attack twice whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Extra attack.
Yeah, you've got 2 attacks, but read the other. You're not reading the right one.
Oh, which one are you reading?
I told you to study up your character earlier. It's part of your Gloomstalker thing, Dread Ambusher.
Oh, I wasn't using that.
It's active all the time.
Oh, okay. So that means I get 3 attacks first attack then.
Your speed is increased by 10 feet, which lasts until the end of that turn. If you take the attack action, you can make an additional weapon attack that deals an extra D8 damage of the weapon's damage type. It costs you no action. It's active every first turn of every round. You get to take that extra attack, so you get 3 attacks on your first round, not just 2.
Right, got ya.
Right. So your first attack was a nat 20.
Yep,
Roll your second attack.
My second attack was 21.
That hits. Roll your third attack.
20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So all 3 hits. So let's resolve the critical first. So maximum dice on your first, which is for you your longbow. So is just a 1d8. So you get 8 maximum damage. Plus your force, it's 12. So roll another d8.
5.
So
9.
You don't add the +4 again. It's just an extra d8. You don't add your modifier twice. So what did you get on the dice?
5.
So that's 17. Yes, that's 17 for your first hit. Roll damage for your second hit.
I gotcha. So 10 for my second, because that's 6 plus 4.
So it's 27, and your third, which is 2d8 on your third.
Is 11, and then add my 10.
Why are you adding 10?
Took 4 off my hit.
Plus 10 for each one, yes. So you
So
need
it's
to
nice, 30.
add that each time, not just to one hit. It's you add 10 to each hit.
So then we add an extra 30.
So what was your first one again? You completely confused me and lost me. So it was 17. So it was 27 for your hit, for your first hit. What was your second hit?
9.
So it's
So 19 for
19.
my
And
second.
what was your last?
21,
And that's including the 10?
including the 10.
Right. Please study up on your character for next week.
I'm assuming that was all damage, wasn't it?
That is all damage. That is all piercing
Fuck.
damage. So guys, just to give you an idea, that is 67 points of damage in a single attack from Inarie.
Awesome.
The elven archer line, and now you got to roll a d6 on top of each one of those hits too. By the way,
Yeah, it was. Didn't she?
the Hail of
do-
Thorns.
Yeah, Hail of Thorns. Would
Add
that
an
critical?
extra.
The Hail of
8.
Thorns doesn't count in the critical. So 3d6 you need to roll.
Yeah, add an extra
So
8 damage.
So that is 75 points of damage in one attack.
Fucking hell.
So
That's
as
impressive.
holy shit, Inarie,
Better than you, Sadiq.
Yeah.
describe how your arrows kill the hag as you fire in rapid succession 3 shots with a critical attack, hitting the exact amount of hit points you needed to kill this creature.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Exactly 75 hit points.
Okay, so one goes straight through her skull, cleaving out her brain. The other 2, one goes either side of her shoulder, taking off her arms. She just falls into 3.
Yeah, okay, you're not going to take her off her arms, not with an arrow. I'm sorry. You're not,
Man, I'm going to take off her arms.
You're not that good.
Oh, I tried.
You tried. Essentially, yeah, your first arrow, you fire it, you pull back, full draw, you fire the arrow, and it hits her right in the shoulder, just below the clavicle, below the collarbone, and staggers her back 2-3 feet. Second one, and these shots come in quick succession within seconds of each other. Second one hits again in the other shoulder, staggering her further, and she rocks back. And the third one, straight through the eye socket, piercing the back of her skull. Chunks of brain and goop and that just. And this is right in front of you, Fiala, as you see her sort of rock backwards, and then that last arrow rocks her head backward, knocking her off her feet, and she falls flat on her back in front of you.
Thanks, Inarie.
It almost took the hag
All good.
completely off her feet. Amazing, guys. That was Rangers, dude. What can I say? Elven Rangers. It's her thing, exactly. I think that was better than Hits Critical, definitely. But yeah, so that's your action and bonus action. You still have movement, if you wish.
I'm going to move over closer to hit.
Closer to hit.
Yep. Gives me eyes on the other thingy. Hag.
You would have to go on the opposite side. You get to the opposite side of Sadiq and Hit there, which would give you line of sight to the other hag. Yeah, hunters for the win, guys. Jeez. Next in line is Alessandros. You are currently deafened. You are able to make the save at the end of your turn. Just let me double check. An out for 1 minute, so you're still deafened at this point. You weren't able to hear, but you can still see what's going on. I don't think you have you just have line of sight on that hag. You probably can't see the mist from where you are, but you can definitely see the
I'll
other hag.
I'll take a shot at the hag with the longbow.
Longbow, no problem. Make your attack.
Uh, 26.
That definitely hits.
And 5 damage.
5 damage.
And I'll stay where I am.
No problem. As Alessandros, not often using the bow, but gets a reasonable draw, fires and hits the hag in the lower ribcage, dealing some damage. The hag sort of turns around and hisses at you, and it doesn't really do a hell of a lot. Sort of just stands there a bit more. You're not going to move or anything. You stay where you are. Sadiq, It is your turn.
I'm going to throw my dagger at the mist thing
At the
again.
mist. Okie dokie. So the mist. This mist has now formed into more of a humanoid shape, resembling that of your known foe, vampire. But it is still very corporeal. You can still see through it, but it's forming that kind of a shape.
Alright, so 21 to hit,
That hits.
13 points of damage.
13 points of damage. Yeah, as you fire the dagger, and it passes through it, but it does take that damage, that radiant damage, sort of sparking as it passes through, and it dissipates and then slowly reforms. Your second attack.
18 to hit,
That does hit as well.
15 damage.
And 15 damage. As the mist takes the damage, you notice it's really struggling to reform. It sort of moves a lot slower. It's not really doing a whole lot. It's looking pretty rough. With that, are you going to move? Bonus action?
I'll move out a little bit. Basically straight across so I can get a bit of line of sight for that hag once it does get to that.
About there, you reckon? Sort of halfway between. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Cool. So with that, it is the vampiric mist's turn. This mist in the shape of vampire moves right into combat with you, Sadiq. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
22.
That's a stand. I think that's pretty sure that's a save. So you take no damage. And that is about it for that thing. That is the mist's turn. It is now the hag's turn. And the hag is going to... Ooh, seeing the Drake there. She's going to cast Sleep on the Drake. So I will need the Drake to... what is... Hang on. Don't tell me what its hit points is, but when I roll this, tell me if it equals or exceeds the hit points. So rolled at 23. I'm assuming that won't even come close.
Not even close.
No. So as the creature casts the sleep spell, reaches out and whispers some words, and yeah, the Drake sort of looks at you, looks back at her, and it's just not affected at all by this creature. So it's going to move. Going to move right into base-to-base combat with both of you, and the moment she steps within 5 feet of you, you hear these insane mutterings. She's constantly chattering It's just almost a whisper, but it's enough that it really starts messing with you. I need both you and the Drake to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
We both fail because that would be 8 and a 6.
8 and a 6. You do both fail indeed. You are both now frightened. So we'll mark. So you are now frightened for the next minute. So on your turn, you will have to attempt to run away. Pretty much, you'll also have disadvantage on attacks based on that creature while you can still see her.
Alright.
So she has. She's going to see if she recharges her howl for one, which she does, and that will be her turn. Hit, you're up.
It traces a sigil in the air, similar to a number 5, and at the same time he says, I can't hear a thing, nor can I hear my singing voice. So take this. 5 magics, and he aims Vic Bolt at the hag.
No problem.
I'm rolling to hit. That's a 13.
A 13?
Correct.
That misses. As you release the spell, your deafened state, there must be something in the tone or tune of your voice or the way you struck the lute. It just didn't quite find its target. And the hag seems to sort of look over at you and sort of glare at you, but is solely focused on Fiala at this point. Anything else you would like to do, Kate?
It would like to move towards Sadiq's direction. 30 feet fully, thank you. Not close to the being, obviously.
No. So that you move directly across to the other side of the gravelled area there. The ethereal stag stays where it is. Does it follow him, Fiala, or does it stay until you move it?
It can stay until I move it,
Okay.
so anyone can walk in and get healed as well.
Okay, cool. So the ethereal, you walk out of the ethereal stag, but reasonably safe, you think, in that particular area. With that, if that is your turn hit, we are back to the top of the round with Fiala. You are now frightened of this creature in front of you.
So I have to run away.
You don't have to. There's nothing in the stat block says you have to run away, but any attacks against it will be at disadvantage. And you can't move closer to it in your turn. So you can't, I mean, you're already close to it anyway, but any attacks against her will be at disadvantage. And that would be both you and the Drake.
Alright. I would like to attempt to cast Tidal Wave on the hag.
Tidal Wave?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and she will have to make a dex save.
Is that a range spell?
Yeah, 120 feet.
Yeah, because you're within base-to-base combat. Let's read this up. It doesn't really see. You don't have to roll to hit, so yeah, I'll definitely allow that. So dex save. Ooh, yeah, no, she fails.
Yay!
I'll give her advantage on it because of the fear. She still fails with a 13. I believe that is a fail.
Alright, and she will take
Yeah,
23 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone.
Nicely done. Ugh. So the hag falls prone at your feet, and is it 23 points of bludgeoning damage?
Yes.
Nicely done. Well done. With that, yeah, a wall of water appears in front of Fiala. Let's read this. Conjure up water, crashes down 30 feet. Yeah, so this all of a sudden this wall of water just appears in front of Fiala and moves forward with great speed and force, washing over the hag and drops her to her knees and then back onto her back prone. And as she's slammed with this water, and as the water moves forward, and it puts out the campfire and then dissipates in through the trees. I would say with that, this whole area here now is difficult terrain because it's now completely saturated and sodden in water. So anyone moving through that area will be slowed probably by about 5 feet. It's not hugely affected, but and with that is your action.
Yes.
Bonus action.
I will move my stag towards whoever's closest to it. Really.
Which will
I'll put it
be
next.
Inarie will be closest. So if you have taken any damage, Inarie, you will get a d6 heal from the stag as it moves into your square.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
So roll that d6, Fiala.
Wow, 1.
You don't roll it.
Oh no, I don't roll it, thank God.
No, you don't roll it. Fiala.
She gets a 1.
You get a 1.
Yes.
So you get
We
1
both
HP
rolled
of healing power from this ethereal stag as it passes through. You are able to give your Drake a command as a free action, so you can.
I would like him to focus on the prone hag.
You're still within the hag's still within range, and now that she's prone, and the disadvantage will be cancelled with a melee attack, so you get just a straight roll if you're wanting to attack with the Drake.
Alright, I would like the Drake to use cold breath on her,
Ooh, okay, yes.
which is a con save.
Constitution save. That is an 11. I believe that is a fail as well.
That is a fail. So she'll take, I gotta do math. 20 points of cold damage.
Ooh. 20 points of cold damage. As the hag is knocked down from this wave of water and is struggling on the ground to get up, and the Drake sort of leans forward and lets out this cone of cold breath and almost ices the hag over because she's drenched from the water and the cold damage. It starts to form icicles all over a cloak. Her cloak is all stiff and cold, and she's not looking happy. And is that everything for you? Yeah,
That's it for me.
that's it for you. Next in line is Inarie, and Alessandros, you're up after that.
Right, I've still got Hail of Thorns.
No, you've already used it. You've got to recast it.
I will recast Hail of Thorns.
Make sure you're using your spell slots.
I am.
The recast Hail of Thorns is a bonus action.
Recast Hail of Thorns is a bonus action, and we've ballsed it up last time.
Yes, we did. It was supposed to be a deck save.
Yeah, no, 1d10. So I am still going to use my sharpshooter.
Okay,
And
so -5 on your attacks, so 2 attacks.
Yep, I'm going to attack. Who have we got left
You got
on the board? that I'm
you've got the mist in front of Sadiq, and you've got the hag who is prone. So if you're firing at the hag, it'll be at disadvantage because she's prone.
I'll go for the mist.
So you go for the mist. Okay, so first attack at the mist.
15 to hit.
That does hit, I believe. Give me 1 second. That does hit. Roll your damage.
Can I take the second hit?
Roll your damage.
My damage.
You got the first hit. Roll. Just we need to just follow my instructions. Roll your damage for the first hit.
11.
11 and
Oh no, 21. Sorry, put the 10 on that. Yep.
yes, 10. So 21. Yeah. So as you fire the arrow, this thing just goes and dissipates and disappears from sight as you destroy the mist with a single shot.
So does that mean I can then
You still
turn
have
him
you can turn and fire at the
At the hag?
at the hag, but it will be at disadvantage because she is lying prone.
Well, that sucks because
So
I
roll-
just rolled a net 20.
Roll 2d20s, take the lowest. Are you using sharpshooter on this one as well?
I am, so it's
So
a
minus
19
5,
to
so
hit.
19 to hit. That, I believe, does still hit.
Oof.
So plus 10 plus whatever other
So
damage.
18.
18. And
And
your
then
Hail of
one hail-
Thorns, she needs to make a dex save, which will be, she automatically fails because she's prone. So it'd be a d10 on top of that.
And that's 10 damage.
You rolled a 10. Damn.
I rolled a 10.
So what was your other damage? Sorry, I missed it. It was 15 plus 10? 25?
15 plus 10.
25.
Bloody hell.
Jesus Christ.
I'm rolling
Hunters,
good
man.
dice tonight.
Hunters.
Where did
Huntards, man. Huntards.
I just put that dice somewhere and it's rolling really good for me.
So again, you got hit, you see it, you can't hear anything, but you see Inarie move forward and again draw and knock that arrow, firing at the mist, destroying the mist right in front of Sadiq there, and then turning on, almost just pivoting on her heels and pulling and knocking another arrow, firing it at the hag, almost ignoring the disadvantage of the prone target and finding its target true, and then that hail of thorns descending from the sky, adding extra damage. Just 1 second on the hail of thorns. I believe that Fiela may have to also make the save. I just got to have a quick read here. Yes, Fiala, you'll also have to make a dexterity save for the Hail of
Both of us
Thorns,
within 5
as
feet
will
of it.
as will the Drake, because you're both within 5 feet of the target. So dex saves for you and the Drake.
I got a nat 20,
Nat 20, so that is fine. For the Drake,
and he got a 7.
He
Steven,
got hit.
he gets
I'm
hit, so
sorry.
he takes 10 points of piercing damage. So another nat 20, guys. So the hag has taken more damage, lying prone. It is now Alessandros' turn. If you don't want to move, Inarie?
Me. I might move over to the tree on the opposite side of the path.
so how much is your movement? 45,
40 feet.
40 feet. That's just on the first turn. So you're
Oh, sorry, 30 feet.
So it is 30.
Sorry.
Yeah, you only get that on your first attack of the round of the combat.
Yeah, I can make it there. So I'm not quite
You won't
completely
quite get to
hidden
the
by it.
tree, but you'll get to the edge of the grass line there.
Yeah, it does.
So, with that, it is now Alessandros' turn. Sadiq, you're up after that.
Now, if I remember correctly, I was meant to make a wisdom
Yes.
save after my last turn.
You were to see if you can remove. No, you don't. Sorry, it just lasts for a minute. So it lasts for six rounds. So you'll be deafened pretty much for the whole combat until she dies.
Cool. Okay, so I'll move to the little green bush.
Little green bush. Oh crap! I hit the camera. My bad. I have to remember to tie that up. Little green bush.
There's an earthquake.
You are still deafened. A bit of move your token with it as well. There we go.
I left the deafened behind.
No, you didn't.
Damn.
What?
Oh, is that Shaggy?
Make your attack.
Alright, yeah, bow again.
Bow attack. It'll be a disadvantage, being a ranged attack, because the target is
Yeah.
prone. 2d20s take the lowest.
24
That does hit.
and 5.
5 points of damage as Alessandro seeing Inarie fire these arrows with such such deftness, just being a kind of looking like an alpha man wants to look the part, knocks the arrow and fires it. Doesn't quite get the same effect as Inarie does, but definitely does strike true with the arrow, doing 5 points of piercing damage. Every time you hit it, the hag is howling, and these whispers are just getting. As you get closer, you can't hear it, Alessandro, because you're deaf, but Sadiq, even you're starting to hear these whispers and constant mutterings. It's kind of disconcerting. Anything else, Miss Alessandros?
Negative.
Sadiq, you're up. Those guys are deed. Yes, so Sadiq, your turn, sir.
I'm going to move up towards the hag. While I'm doing that, put away the dagger and pull out my main sword and change its dawn to that.
You can do that. You will also need to make a wisdom saving throw as well, please, as you get within 5 feet of the muttering creature.
That was a natural 20, so 19.
19. We'll call it a natural 20. Roll a nat 20, so let's get some nat 20s in the chat. With a 19, you do still save.
And take a swing.
So you are not. You get that pang of that frightful presence as the whispers sort of get to you, then you sort of shrug it off, and you do hit. Roll your damage.
28 points of damage.
28 points of damage. You get advantage on these two, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
So the first hit, you strike down with your double-handed sword, and you cause some major damage with that first strike. Your second strike.
18 to hit.
18 does hit.
26 points of damage.
And how do you want to kill her?
Chop her head off.
You just want to decapitate her outright?
Yep.
Sadiq seeing, you guys all see Sadiq seeing this creature prone on the ground and not looking healthy at all, takes half a step forward, puts his 1 foot right next to the creature's top of the creature's head, and just comes down with all his force, separating the head from the shoulders, burying the sword into the earth with such force it actually get that puff of dirt as it hits the earth. And
You mean puff of mud?
Well, yeah, actually puff of mud, the squelch of mud, which sprays in all directions, splattering on Fiala and the Drake. And the creature's head just rolls off to one side, and eyes roll back. The tongue sort of lulls from one side of its mouth, and now a pool of dark purplish blood starts to mix with earth and water as this creature falls under Sadiq's blade. And with that, we are out of initiative.
I'm going to stick my head into that tent and see if there's anything else in there.
Funnily enough, as this creature dies, that tent disappears. As you look up to approach it, the tent sort of shimmers and then disappears from sight.
That was weird.
I'll look over at Het and just go, so Het, have you ever seen that happen before?
Het is still deafened. And so is Alessandros at this point.
What? Who said something? Say something.
I'm gonna, do the indication of like rub your ears, rub your ears.
Hear no evil. That is correct.
And after about another sort of 30 seconds or so, your hearing slowly starts to restore with a ringing, like a ringing sound at first. You can sort of hear muffled sounds as the ringing sort of starts to get a little bit louder, and then that ringing subsides, and your hearing is restored.
Can I go and pick up my arrows, please?
You can roll an investigation check to see if you can find them. The one that you fired at the mist, you may not find.
That was horrible. I thought I'd never hear again.
I rolled an 11.
11. You can't seem to find the one that you shot at the mist. It seems to have sort of vanished into the few trees that are there. But you do find 2 of your arrows that you have fired into the hag. The other one, the one that went through the skull, is unusable. It's
a little bit gooey.
Yeah, it's not that it's gooey. It's that the shaft is pretty well shot. You know, looking at it, you know that it's never going to fire straight. So it's just not.
I may have broke it.
Quite possibly with that force of that blow.
That's all right.
So with that, yeah, that is your combat over, ladies and germs.
All right, check the bodies.
Who's going to helm the investigation check to
I will help.
search
I
the
will
loot?
help as well.
So who's going to helm it, not help?
Oh.
Well, okay, I'll do it.
You'll do it?
And that
Do it
that'd
with
be
advantage.
crap.
With advantage, because you're getting help. Everyone's sort of looking, so just roll with advantage.
24?
24. So with that, as you rifle through the hag's bodies, between the two of them, you do find about 56 gold pieces. You also find a couple of regular healing potions that they've had on their bodies. You find a small dagger, just looks like a regular ordinary dagger. You do find a scroll on the hag that you decapitated, Sadiq, and it's in common. So as you open it up, you notice that it is, when I remember what I named it, a scroll of history. It'll be in D&D Beyond.
I'll give the scroll of history to Het, the gold to Ellie, and then how many vials of healing?
Two healing potions, just regular healing potions.
Just shake them and say, who wants these?
Yep. So the scroll of history is the scroll of history, the Great Dragonmore. So that's in D&D Beyond. If anyone wants to add that, because I'm assuming you'll share it around to read. So if anyone wants to add it, and you can all read it from D&D Beyond. You also find a piece of ripped parchment, also in common, that has just a single line, a sentence written on it. And again, it's that same thing. I think you guys have found something similar before. Is it's just he lives, he will get his revenge. Right. So that is about all you find on the bodies of the hags. That you get the impression that whatever they were up to, a lot of it is obviously possibly illusionary with the tent disappearing. But yeah, so that is pretty much it.
Is the note passed around, or does just Sadiq see it?
That's up.
I'll
to
let
Sadiq.
everyone see it.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping that to myself.
I've already added it to my.
Well, the scroll of history, like I said, if anyone, obviously, I would assume that the history would get passed around so everyone could read. So
Yes, it would pass history around, but he would want it back to put it in his pack.
so everyone just add it to your inventory and have a read of it. It's there for
Very
everyone.
long but interesting.
It's a bit of information, but it gives you some interesting insights.
Mind you, would I know this anyway?
You would know some of it because you were a part of the war, so you'd know parts of it, not all of it. You were around during the Great Dragon War, being the elf that you are. So, what are you going to do?
It walks over to Fiona and says, "That was a magnificent beast you made.
Which is still there, by the
How
way.
is that possible?"
No, Fiala hugged it and it flew away.
Oh, did it?
She put it in chat.
Oh, did
she
she?
didn't want to say it.
I didn't want to interrupt.
After I apologised to it for injuring it.
You'd like to hug your wormling as he flies away. Didn't want. Okay. With things like that, you just let me know. That's cool.
Alright.
You can interrupt for things like that. Okay, so the drake has flown away, off into the distance.
It was part of my cloak that was given to me by Vigilia. So he learned a lot about dragons in his day.
It was very cool. It reminded Hit of Hit.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, the difference between it wasn't white, it was silver, but it had a little bit of resemblance to a young hat with the cold damage. Let's say.
That was what Hit was comparing.
Right. Anything else you would like to do? What is your next move?
I think I'll take a healing potion.
And Head should stop the deafen. He should be right to go now.
Both you guys are no longer deafened.
Yes, I haven't turned it off correct. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, make sure you remove the
It is
deafened
taking-
condition.
Hit is also taking one of Siddiq's plasma pills.
Okie doke. So out of
Should I take
combat,
this healing potion?
yeah. So out of
Healing
combat,
potion.
roll because it heals over time. So out of combat, roll the total amount of heals that you'd normally roll over that 4 rounds.
No problem.
Just to ask, so with the healing potions we buy,
They do
take-
full damage,
yep, they
full
do,
heal. So if they've been bought, then you take the maximum heal allowable.
Sweet. Thank you.
So these ones would be you roll for heal.
Actually, make a medicine check to see if you want to check the potency of it, because you are an alchemist, are you not?
Of a sort.
Of a sort. So,
17 on the medicine check.
17. You look at them, you pop the stopper, and you think, yeah, they look pretty good. So I would say they'll have maximum heals as well.
So I wave that in front of Hit and go, you don't want one of these as well, do you, Hit?
No, the plasma pill I always forget to take, so I've just taken it.
You won't be able to benefit from the plasma pill for another 24 hours, Hit.
That's completely fine. I don't remember benefiting from it during the combat.
Good point.
This is true. This is very true.
I'm gonna take one of the greater potions of healing that I have in the bag.
Right, and if it was bought, then that'll do maximum heals as well.
No, it wasn't bought. I believe it was found.
It was found. So what I'll do... So it's a greater, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the greater does 44 plus 4.
You want me to check that one, just to see?
What I'll say for that one is... Roll 2d4, add your 4, and maximize 2 of the dice. Because it was found. We'll go that way with that.
Okay, 2d4.
Roll 2d4, add 8.
Okay, 6. 6 plus 8 is what?
Really?
14.
14,
14,
add 4, so it'll be 18.
18.
18. Cool.
So that works. Yeah. So that's that done. Looters, you've looted. There's not much else on the bodies. They were old crones. They didn't have a whole lot with them.
So how close are we to the it's not really a castle, is it?
It's
The vampire.
the outside. The outside looks like it could be a castle. Like they've got like an outer wall. There's a drawbridge over an old moat, which the water's real dirty and brown and quite low. It's definitely started to dry up and die off like the rest of the land in this area. The drawbridge is down, so the portcullis is up, and what that leads into is like a large courtyard, which is like the main entry of this large estate type house. You're looking at 3 or 4, probably 4 stories. The house is quite big, so it's 4 stories tall. It's it's an old stone house. It's not like a wooden stately home. It's a stone house. You can see that a portion of the top floor on the left hand side has crumbled in and caved in on one side. So it's definitely looks like it's been empty for a long time. Although rumors have had it that this particular creature still resides here. Obviously, is not maintaining the home at all. But yeah, so this time of the day, there doesn't seem to be any movement in and around the front of the house. The windows are dusted over, and you can't really see through them. But that's pretty much what you're greeted with. So you guys are pretty much standing at the drawbridge at this point.
Hit gets out his compass. Which way is the drawbridge facing?
The drawbridge is facing to the east. So
Well, team,
you're
there's a
walking
drawbridge
eastly.
east.
Was it up or down?
It's down.
Guess we go across.
Looking,
I guess.
looking at the
Maybe you
chains,
should
it's
go
been
first.
down. It's been down for quite some time. The chains are rusted and fairly solid. It hasn't been used in some time.
So it's more of a bridge than a draw.
Yeah,
bridge.
well, kind of.
Does it look rickety?
No, it looks pretty solid.
Okay, let's go across. Let's have a look at this.
Hit waits at the edge of the drawbridge until at least 2 of them are in the middle.
No problem. So you guys approach the drawbridge. It seems sturdy enough. It's been made out of a very thick oak, from what you can tell. It's fairly old. Also, it's been down for quite some time. It's dusty and dirty and that, but it seems strong enough for you all to walk across without too many hassles. Sort of, it does creak. It does creak a little bit as wood does. What was that hit?
Can Hit see footprints in the dust?
On the drawbridge?
Yes.
Nothing that looks recent. There are a spattering of old footprints that have had sort of squished the dust down and then redusted over top, but nothing that looks recent other than the footprints of your allies who've just crossed the bridge.
Okay, once they're all on the other side, Hit will go across slowly.
No problem. You cross without any hassle at all. It's just a drawbridge. You cross through the threshold of the portcullis. Again, sort of looking up as you walk through, the portcullis again looks like it's not been used in a long time. The iron is rusted in places. As you cross through, you can see that parts of the wall on the inside are starting to crumble and fall. The whole exterior wall, as you sort of look around this courtyard, you can see around the edges is the towers, which would probably be guard towers where potentially in a siege they would have been able to defend from. One of those towers has caved in. There's a big hole in the side. You can see the staircase, the spiral staircase leading up into the top of the tower. The other one, everything looks like it's been not used in a long time. Things are overgrown, but what is overgrown has died and is brown and grey. The gravel is just a real dark grey, sort of fine stone. Again, just with extra layers of dust and dirt and stuff. It doesn't seem to have been a lot of activity in this area.
Is it daytime or nighttime? I can't
It
remember.
is daytime. You are, by this time, it would have taken you a couple of hours to get here, but by this time you're probably heading into mid to late morning, heading in towards lunchtime. By the time you sort of got through the battle and searched and sort of discussed what was happening. So I'd say probably about 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:30-ish.
Does anybody see something that looks like a path in? Allie, do you see any traps or anything?
I suppose I'll look for traps.
You're going to search the immediate area for traps. So pretty much where you guys are standing now is probably 50 to 50 or so feet from you is the main entrance to the house. So looking directly ahead, you've got a big double oak doors on the front of this stone house. The house itself is probably 300 or 400 feet wide. It's a big house. So beyond that, you've probably got another 50, 60 feet between the walls of the house and the outer walls of this sort of compound, if you will. So it's a big area. And you can see off to the right hand side where a stable would have been. It's half collapsed. You can see where they would have hitched horses and where there would have been hay put out for the horses and things like that. There's an old cart there that looks pretty much ready to fall apart. On the left hand side, there's another hut style building, thatched roofs on these sort of outbuildings, and looks like it might have been a blacksmith at some stage. You can see a few tools and that hanging up, and what looks to would have been a forge, long cold, of course. And so you got a few small sort of buildings in the front there. So roll an investigation check if you're searching for any kind of trap in this area, Alexandros.
19.
19. You search around. Takes you about sort of 20 minutes, half hour, because it's a big area to cover, and you have a good look around, looking for potential pitfalls and things like that. You don't find anything that looks suspicious. You sort of check. I'm assuming you wanted to check around the doorway, the entranceway of the house as well.
Yeah.
So as you sort of approach the entryway, you go to step on that first step. It's like 4 or 5 steps up to a covered entryway. It's got concrete pillars, stone pillars running up, and it's got a little sort of roof over top of it, almost like the entrance to a crypt style sort of entrance. It's all stone, nicely carved. It's starting to, you can see the age, and it's starting to fall apart a little bit. But as you go to step on that front step, something catches your eye, and you sort of, oh. And as you look down, you notice that the sand and dust has fallen into the cracks of what looks like a separate stone to what the rest of the step is made of. It looks very similar, but because of all the layers of dust, it's actually revealed the edges of this, what you would assume would be a pressure pad.
I'll let everybody know about it.
Do you,
Do they?
do you mark
Do,
it?
do,
We just let them know that it's there.
let them know it's there.
Let them know, don't tell me.
Hey, everybody, there's a pressure plate here. Don't touch.
Why don't you disarm it? Or I could try
Yeah.
and disarm it.
Yeah, you can try. Where you go?
I can try.
Do you have thieves' tools?
I don't have thieves' tools.
Then
I can't disarm it.
You can try and disarm it at a disadvantage with your dagger if you have a dagger. Do you have a dagger?
I have a hammer.
I'll disarm it.
Okay. Well, if Inarie wants to try and disarm it with a hammer, it'll be at disadvantage.
No, she won't.
You sure?
Nari is not that silly.
No, she's not.
Disarm.
No, I mean, Inarie probably wouldn't even have offered, knowing she doesn't have thieves' tools.
Sleight of hand, wouldn't it?
No, just roll dexterity plus proficiency. So your dex mod and your proficiency for the D20.
Had I rolled it, we would have been stuffed.
So 22 initially, so our plus thieves tools.
No, not your thieves tools. You roll a D20.
Yep.
You add your dexterity modifier.
Yep.
Then you add your
21.
proficiency modifier, which is at the top of your sheet.
Oh, plus 3.
So 24.
Yeah. I think it's disarmed.
I think it's disarmed. Yeah. So as you you take out your thieves tools there, and you got your little picks, and you've got a few other tools like a screwdriver type tool and a couple of small blades. You sort of you sweep away the dust around the edge of it, and you see the edges, and you use one of your tools, and you just ever so carefully lift one corner of the pressure pad, and just enough so you can reach one of your hook tools in and hook. It's really intricate. It's made up of a number of gears. It's not something you've seen before. In most pressure pads is just a simple sort of wooden pulley system, but this is quite interesting. It's a few gears, and you see like a little hammer that hangs in one of the gears, and you sort of hook that and pull it out, and the pressure pad sinks. It's like a quarter-inch lower than the rest of it, and you know that has now rendered that trap inert.
Sounds like that was a pretty nasty trap.
It was a pretty intricate trap. Something that's been very well designed. Now what are you doing, guys? That's the investigation for traps done.
Shall we go inside?
Do we try the
Is
door?
it safe?
I checked the door, wasn't any traps.
Do I see any tracks anywhere?
Tracks. Roll investigation to search for any particular types of tracks.
So that's a 13.
Are you looking for anything specific?
Oh, people
tracks. Apart from your own, you don't really find anything. Nothing fresh. Like I said, there are plenty of other what you would assume to have been traffic footprints and areas of stuff that have been worn down from regular use, but they're years old.
Okay.
But nothing fresh, apart from your own, obviously. So what are we doing, guys?
Going to the door and opening it.
You gonna try the door?
Yes.
You walk up to the door, sort of stepping around the trap, even though it's been disarmed. You don't really want to stand on it. You reach out.
Just means he doesn't trust me.
You reach out and you grab the handles. Aren't your typical door handles like a turning type of handle. It's a big wrought iron ring which you sort of turn to one side, turn inwards, and it would lift an inside bar. As you go to turn the handle, as you grab it and turn it, it gives a little bit of resistance. So I get you to make a strength check for me. 13. It takes you a couple of minutes, but you've got to give it a bit of a good sort of yank, and you give it a bit of a muscle, and you hear it creak loudly as obviously this door has not been opened in a long time, and it finally does give, and you push open the doors. The doors open inwards, which is odd because most exterior doors open outwards, so it's kind of odd, but they open inwards. And with a loud groaning, creaking sound as the metal hinges, obviously haven't been used in quite some time, screech against the metal of the interior hinge as you force the door open. And it echoes throughout the lower floor of this house. What you are greeted with is a large foyer type area. The floor is dusty. You get the real smell of old mildewy sort of fabric. Obviously, the place has probably got curtains in it that have started to rot with the damp. The air is thick with dust, what light is coming in through the door and what is making it through the windows that are all dusted over. You can you see the dust in the air in the light, sort of the sun shafts coming through. Directly in front of you is a single staircase going straight up the center of the room, splitting
Dusty.
off. Yeah, it is. Bless you, Dusty. Inarie sneezes loudly, and splits off into two more staircases heading up to would be the first level of the home. At the top of the stairs, there is a large painting. It's very dusty. It's kind of, you can sort of see that it's of a man. You're not sure what race from this distance, but it's definitely, you would assume that it's probably the former owner of the home or an ancestor or something. But it's a very large painted portrait. To your left, you've got a 2 or 3 doors. That one lot is sort of hanging open. One door is hanging almost off its hinges. The other door is open, and it looks like it could be potentially a library. It's kind of dark, you can't really tell too much. On the other side is a series of single doors, all open. The house is quite dark, and even in this daylight, the light that's coming in through this main area, you can't really sort of tell what's in these rooms from where you are, sort of heading the entranceway.
Any lights around the area?
My sword is actually currently acting like a 20-foot light, by the way.
That's right, still flaming, isn't it? Okay, so with that, you can, like, the area itself, it's lit up with enough sunlight coming through the main door. It's just the inside the rooms you can't really see unless you walk into them from where you are. What light sources that are around that you can see, Alessandros? There is a chandelier which has candles and everything in it. The candles look like they've all long burnt down to quite low.
I'll use prestidigitation on the chandelier.
So you're going to light the chandelier? So you
Yes.
cast prestidigitation, and one by one the candles sort of go and they light up, shedding a bit more light into this foyer. I say it's not dark, but it was sort of dingiest. With the light from the sword and the light from the chandelier, you now can see quite clearly that this as you sort of look up, the ceiling, and this is quite high, and the stairs that you saw disappear up to what would be the first floor. Molded ceilings. This would have been a really nice, really up sort of lordly home or a stately home at one point, but long disuse, lots and lots of dust, lots of cobwebs, like cobwebs hanging from things. The dust is clinging to them. It's pretty creepy looking. So you're all currently standing in the entranceway.
And I said the word properly this time round.
You did. Well done.
Well, where to, fellas?
If, I don't know if it's worth it, but if it takes 10 minutes, I am able to detect magical things for up, well, sorry, if it takes a split second, I am able to detect magical things for up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can hang around for 10 minutes, I think, guys.
No, he can detect shit for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
he just takes us a second.
It's detect magic.
That's right.
I know what he's trying.
Just as we walk through the area for the next 10 minutes, I can have my detection up.
Okay, so you cast detect magic, and you.
Correct.
You specifically, where you gonna go? You're just gonna stay in the main foyer area, or are you gonna start investigating that lower?
As we move through each area, I guess as we go for the next 10 minutes. So wherever we're going to, team, I'm up. I'm magicking.
So you cast detect magic, and where you're currently standing in, what's the range on that? 30 feet? Or is it
Yes,
60
30 feet.
30 feet.
30 feet sphere from the center,
Okay.
me being the center point.
So as you sort of wander around this main entrance area, looking around and sort of seeing that, like, it's not like someone just up and left this place. It still looks like everything's still here. Like, there's an old vase with old flowers in it on a sideboard somewhere, and like it looks like the home's been long abandoned. you don't sense or see anything magical in this main area at this point.
Can I cast...
Can you close the kitchen window, please?
I can. But can I cast my primeval awareness?
Is it a spell?
Oh, this is as an action you can expend one ranger spell slot.
Okay, so it's a spell. Yeah.
Yeah, sense whether any aberrations, celestials, dragon, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead are present within 1 mile of you or within up to 6 miles if you're in your favoured terrain. It doesn't reveal the creature's location.
Well, you are not in your favourite terrain, for one, because your favourite terrain is in a forest and in the Underdark. You're in a house, not in a forest or in the Underdark.
So it probably wouldn't help then.
So you would know that. You'd know that you're not in...
Oh, so it'd only be up to 1 mile.
That'd only be 1 mile.
Fine.
So, yeah.
Which is still a fair
It's still a fair distance. So you sort of do you tell the group what you're doing?
Yeah.
Then tell them. Don't tell
I'm
me.
going to cast my primeval awareness.
And you explain to them what it does.
Which means that I'll be able to tell if there's anything undead or fiendish or elemental or fae within
So,
a mile of us.
Yeah. So hit your detect. Yeah, your detect magic spell doesn't pick anything up immediately in the immediate area. Everything is cold and dark. But as Inarie sort of steps forward and announces, guys, I'm able to do this as part of my rangery type things, my learnings, and she casts primeval awareness. And the moment you cast the spell, Inarie, you sense there's definitely undead within that mile. You don't know where or how many, but there is definitely undead within a mile of your current position. Don't sense any dragons. You don't really sense any elementals as such. Potential aberrations, maybe. It's quite faint, but there's definitely potentially fiends and aberrations, but definitely undead within a mile.
I relay this to the team.
Sadiq, which way should I head?
I would guess down. Is there a down?
Would you like to look for a down?
Yes, let's look for a down.
Let's look for a down. So as you search room for room, you start. Which side of the house would you like to start, left or right?
The front.
Yeah, left or right, from where you're currently standing at the front
we'll
of
go
the house.
left, work our way around right. No, from the front we'll go to the left and then to the back and then around to the right, back to the front until we.
Okay, so you move to the traps. You move for move to the first room. Roll investigation for traps for the area first. We'll resolve that.
Investigation 25.
Bloody rogues! I hate rogues. As you investigate so you're investigating just the foyer at this point and doors and things.
Yeah.
Okay, so it takes you about 10 or 15 minutes again to investigate the whole area. It's quite a large area. And you sort of carefully go around each door, each closed door. Most of the doors are open. I think there's only 2 closed doors in the area. And you find no traps.
I mean, there could have been a bucket trap of one of the doors. I mean, come on.
You never know. So you enter into the first sort of room on the left there, and that door is closed. So you push it open, and there's, like I said, a lot of dust around. So the door takes a little bit to push open, but it doesn't take any kind of strength. Just the dust build-up is built up enough where it makes it a little sticky. As you walk in with Sadiq's sword lit up, you find yourself in like a drawing room. It's got a table with a few chairs around it. Nothing much else in this room. There's a sideboard with looks like some glasses and bits and pieces. Some old dusty bottles. All have lids off. Obviously long drunk and left to that go to waste and dry up. Again, hit, nothing catches your attention in this room. Onto the next room. You, again, rummaging around, you find that the next room is that library, and indeed a library. You walk in, it's quite a large room, and loads and loads of books that are all looking very, very brittle and worn and dusty. If anyone tried to grab one of the books, as you grab a book, it almost crumbles in your hand. It's definitely been there for a long time. A big ornate writing desk, again covered in dust and cobwebs, and nothing much else in that room. Again, hit, nothing really catches your attention on the detect magic spell.
Okay.
As you move through the next few rooms, same thing. It's just you're walking through. It's just room after room of dust and cobwebs and not much else. You move to the back of the entranceway and move round the back of the big stairwell, and under the back of the stairwell looks like there's a bit of a storage area there. Old boxes and bits and pieces, crates and stuff. Not really much you can find there at all. Again, detect magic picks up nothing. You move around to the right hand side, coming back around the big staircase, and you find the dining room, a large dining room with a large table, seats about 10 to 12. You would imagine that this dining room would have been one of the main dining rooms of the house, where it would have been for entertaining, would have had dinner parties and such. The table's not set, but there is like a centerpiece with candelabras and things on the table. They look old and dusty, but you would imagine, being in a house like this, they're probably silver, long tarnished with years of sitting and not being used. Again, nothing in this area that catches your attention. You move into the next room, which is again a large room, which looks obviously the kitchen. The kitchen area has a large wooden fireplace with a spit over it. There's a kind of almost like an oven, like a coal range style oven, which is a wood burning oven, and hot plate where the food would have been prepared. A large larder, and in the back of the large larder you do find another door which is closed and locked, which you assume would be a potential basement, if you will, if that's what you're looking for.
Check
No
it for
magic on the
traps.
door.
What was that hit?
No magic on the door.
No magic on the door.
Check it for traps.
How many minutes would have passed, by the way?
I'd say by this time your spell would have probably ended. By the time you sort of went through each room, by the time you sort of got to the kitchen, the spell would have been on its sort of at the end of the spell.
Okay.
So checking for traps on that door. Roll investigation.
$24.
As you check the door frame, the handle, check around. I mean, you're pretty careful. You're an expert at this kind of thing. So you're doing all the things, and as you run around by the handle, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
$22.
22 on a dex save. As you reach to the handle, just again to double check that it is still that it's locked, or that there's no trap around the lock, you hear a faint clicking sound, and as you look up, you notice the moment you look up, as you hear the sound, two arrows fire from two small openings just above the door. And you take, because you were not quick enough for this trap, you take 6 points of piercing damage as these two arrows embed themselves just in the top of just between your collarbone and your shoulder, on both sides.
That's gonna leave a mark.
It's like thunk, thunk. And there's just short bolts, like not full arrows, just like heavy crossbow bolts, and they just embed themselves into the tops of your shoulder. And yeah, it was, you just didn't quite get out of the way quick enough. And your knowledge of traps, you know that this trap, it's designed to be well hidden, and it just your roll just wasn't quite high enough to.
At 24.
At 24, yeah.
Damn, that's a good trap.
It's a well laid trap, a well planned trap.
Does anyone have a doorbuster spell by any chance?
I have a hammer.
What?
Negative. But maybe now that the trap is expended, you can try again.
Would casting barkskin on Ellie do him any good?
So that would be up to you.
I'm going to cast, it's a cantrip, so I'm going to cast barkskin on Ellie. Your AC is now 16 for up to
Barkskin
an hour.
is not a cantrip.
Okay, no, I'm going to just cast it. I just looked at that. It's under C. Which means I can cast it at will.
No, it's not. That is not it. It takes a spell slot.
Oh, it's fine. I've done that. I've cast it.
It's a buff. It's under C because it's concentration.
Oh, there you go. So I'm going to concentrate on you for an hour.
So, you touch a willing creature until the spell ends. The target's skin has rough bark-like appearance. Target's AC cannot be less than 16 regardless of what kind of armor you're wearing. So, Alessandros, for the next hour, you have an AC of 16.
Woohoo!
And you have skin that looks like bark.
Yeah.
You should be able to pull that off being a changeling, yeah?
I don't know. Anyway, we'll
Well,
go.
Nari, you gave Ali wood.
I was waiting for it.
Watch out for
Yeah.
those beavers, Allie.
And there it is.
Oh. That is so true. Now the beavers will hunt you.
You'd like that wood in your hat.
I would like to see one.
So what are we doing, guys? The trap has been sprung. The door is still locked.
We'll pick it.
You're going to attempt to pick the lock?
Yep.
Roll to a lockpick. Dexterity plus proficiency.
I was hoping for a reloading trap.
28.
Holy shitballs.
Nat 20.
Fucking hell. And that was a high DC lock too, man. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
With bloody rogues. So as you guys watch, as Alessandros nat 20s, a natural 20 on the lockpick there, expertly just picks that lock like it wasn't even there. A couple of minutes, you hear that clicking sound, and that clicking sound to you, Alessandros, is just like music to your ears. The sound when the lock just gives up its secrets to you, and you swing open the door and allow your party to follow through with a smug grin on your face as you expertly pick that lock. So the door is open. The lock is picked. What you see before you is pitch blackness. Looks like a set of stairs descending downward. Stone stairs, stone walls. What are you doing? You guys heading down?
Yep.
Your sword is still lit, I believe.
Yep. Until I go to sleep.
Okie dokie. So with that, the hall reveals itself. It is definitely a stone stairwell, reasonably steep, not too steep that it's uneasy to traverse, but it's steep, it's narrow. Heads down for about 25, 30 feet or so, and then makes a right turn. Again, goes down another 20 or 30 feet, makes a left turn, and sort of starts to flatten out after about 20 feet or so. The corridor then widens out into about 15 feet wide. With your torch lit, those with dark vision, you can see that there are old torches lining one wall along this corridor, and can't really see beyond sort of 20, 30 feet. How much light does your sword give off?
Bright light for 20 feet.
And then dim light for another 20. So yeah, outside of the light of the, even with dark vision, outside of the light of the sword, you cannot see any further than that down this hallway.
Does that mean I've just disappeared to everybody with my umbral sight?
Not if you're, depending on how close you are to Sadiq.
Head pulls up his loot and casts
And it's
light.
not umbral sight that makes you disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you disappear to anyone that relies on dark vision, but you're in light, not in darkness.
Okay.
You're within a group within 40 feet of dim light, so you're not in darkness. You have to be in complete darkness. Right, and Head casts light on his loot, but makes it even brighter still, so again, further negating that ability. But your dark vision is out to 90 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see a little bit further than everybody else, out past Sadiq's light, and now with Het's light even further still. And you can faintly see a door at the end of this corridor. Now, I don't think anyone else will be able to see it even with the light spell.
I'm going to cast prestidigitation on all the lamps that are around.
There are a bunch of torches, and as an action, yeah, you hear Alessandros mutter some arcane words several times, and all the sconces, one by one, burst into life, lighting the entire corridor. And in this corridor, it's a long, probably about 120 feet long from where you are, and there is indeed a large wooden door with steel strapping and steel hinges at the opposite end.
Head gets annoyed at the thief casting magic spells to cast prestidigitation and puts all his lights out again.
And one by one, all the torches douse, and the rest of that corridor disappears.
And prestidigitation again.
Oh crap! And they relight.
Ellie, maybe you should leave the magic to the professionals.
Just helping out.
Fair enough. Don't open the damn door.
Go check the door for traps.
She's gonna just walk because you guys are probably about 100 feet from that door. You're gonna check the door for traps.
Actually, I'm going to check for traps up to the door. Then check the door for traps.
I shouldn't have said anything. Damn it. So, as you walk forward and check for traps, roll investigation.
20.
Dirty or natural?
Dirty.
Dirty 20. So, with your dirty 20, you start looking for unusual stones in the walls and floors as you move forward. We'll make this one for the first 50 feet. We'll make you do a second one for the second 50 feet. And in the first 50 feet or so, you don't find any traps. Roll another investigation check for your final 50 feet.
16.
16. Again, you walk forward slowly, and you get about 25 feet in, and you stand on a stone, and you hear an audible shifting in the stone beneath your feet. I need you to make another dexterity saving throw, please.
16.
16. You, as you hear this noise, you all of a sudden are engulfed in flames from both sides and above you. You are not fast enough to dodge completely, but you do take 16 points of fire damage as you dive roll as the flames spew forward from this trap that you've just triggered.
Ouch! Someone will help me put me out, please. Someone, anyone?
Throw a
Which
water
actually roll a d6 and tell me what you get, just to see which way you actually rolled, forwards or backwards. 2. So you rolled forwards towards the door.
Oh, awesome!
There is now a wall of flame that is still being spewed forth between you and your party.
I throw a water skin at him.
Head steps back.
You throw a water skin at...
Ellie.
Do you have a water skin to throw?
Skin to throw.
As you throw it, you're going to try and throw it through the flames. Roll a strength... Actually, roll a dexterity check just to see your aim.
Nat 20, so 23.
A natural 20. 23. So you
Third
throw it.
one this evening.
So you throw it. Another natural 20, guys. I think Inarie's cheating, but that's just me.
You can come and check if you
I
want.
don't need to check anything. I don't trust your dice.
You gave them to me.
I know, that's why I don't trust them. Another natural 20 from Inarie. She throws this water skin at Alessandros, and you do indeed hit Alessandros, but as it passes through the flame, the searing flame, magical flame that is being emanated from the walls and ceilings, virtually destroys the water skin as it goes through. And Alessandros, you get sprayed with hot, boiling water as the skin breaches, and you take another 4 points of damage as you get sprayed with scalding hot water.
The reason Hit backed up was so he could charge in and run and grab Ellie, and as this goes on, he runs forward, grabs Ellie, and then tries to pull him back out of the flame.
You can't.
Shit.
Well, So you're going to try and run through the flame to grab Alessandros. Roll. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. You charge forward and reach through the flames to try and grab Alessandros and...
Stop! As soon as I reach through the flame, I exhale my breath weapon, which is all ice and cold.
Okay, interesting. You will take... As you reach through the flame, you will take 16 points of fire damage.
Which is 32 for me.
Which is 32 for you because you are vulnerable to fire damage. At the same time you express your breath weapon, which does indeed dispel this magical flame as you fire forward in the direction of Alessandros, and the hallway is not as wide as the cone of your breath weapon. Alessandros, you'll also take 7 points of cold damage from the breath weapon as Hit expels towards you, but it does indeed dissipate and dispel that flame from that trap. The flame is no longer there. But Hit, you do take 32 points of fire damage in the process.
That is cool. I have done that.
Wow.
May I go up and cast Gift of Ashari cantrip on each of them?
You can.
And I'm going to hand them both a healing potion and go, what the fuck?
So Ali gets 9 points of healing and Het gets 10 points of healing.
Well done.
Thank you, Fiona. Sadiq, I would have thought a warrior of your skill and size would have been the first to run in to save a friend.
It was on the other side. I was trying to work out how to get rid of the fire so we could join him on the other side.
Hit can't get
Which
10.
apparently-
The max heal on the Gift of Ashari is 9.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Because I got a D6 plus. Oh, no, yeah, it is 9. Never mind. D6 plus 3.
I know I created the spell.
I know. I did bad.
Oh,
math.
I'm gonna also ask for the 2 empty flasks back from
Okay.
them when they take their potion.
So
Take this
what
back
is?
to the flask.
So you got 2 regular healing potions, so it'll be 10 HP for those heals. For those if you're going to take that healing pot.
And hand the flask back.
Don't go. So yeah, as I was saying, I was like sitting there trying to work out how to do it. I was just about to turn around and say to you, Het, are you able to dispel this flame? And then I see you run into said flame and dispel it at the same time. So
I could just see Ali burning. It was my initial thought was to run and grab him and breathe out at the same time. I was a little slow on the breathe out.
well, now you know. Breathe first, then walk.
It's cool. We're all alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for the save.
I'm
That's okay,
sorry
you
for
already won.
scolding you.
Yeah, as the flame disappears and you regroup again, yeah, you can see Alessandro's face is red and sort of mottled with burnt skin where she was scalded by the boiling hot water from the water skin. And a few burn marks up her arms and bits and pieces from the flames. As is Het. Het is not looking too shit hot either.
Yeah, chicks dig scars. Come on, boys and girls. Let's pick on that.
Checking for. So that was just a magical trap which has been set off. Doesn't need to worry about it again.
Do you assume so?
How about I check it then?
So you want to retract the trap to make sure it's not going to reset.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's cast detect magic again.
yeah, I was going to say, Alessandro, you could probably check the mechanism, but you wouldn't be sure whether it's magical or not. It seemed magical. But here you'd cast detect magic, and that stone in the floor that Alessandro did stand on does light up with arcane energy.
Ali, that stone is still magical.
Yeah, as does the areas where the flame was being released from. You've got a faint glow of magical energy from those areas as well, walls and ceiling.
Do you see any other spots in between us and the door hit?
Oh my god, there's magic all over you, Sadiq.
Yes, well, yes,
I
well,
am pretty magical.
yeah. In saying that, every item that is magical that everyone is carrying is now glowing a bright arcane blue for you, Het. So most of your party is most of your party, including yourself, are glowing a nice arcane blue right now.
Do we look pretty? Does my hair look good?
You have a protective breastplate, Inarie.
Yes.
Okay, it's just glowing. Anyway, turn around and look at the corridor. And is there anything else other than the pressure plate and the plates where the fire came out?
There is a faint glow around the door as well, around the frame of the door. So you get the impression there is some form of magic on the door itself as well. Just got to remember what detect magic does. Does it detect the school of magic as well?
There's some form of magic. Yes, it detects the school as well.
You the door, I mean, obviously, you know that the trap itself was fire magic. It was designed to hurt people, obviously. And the magic school that the door is emanating is evocation magic. So you would assume that it is, again, something equally as nasty as either fire or could be cold. It could be it could be some kind of evocation spell.
So
Okay,
something
just so
I
you
don't want to
guys-
touch.
Yeah, you don't want it. That door's gonna do something nasty to Allie. I suggest you change into a piece of sheet metal and walk up to the door.
Not gonna happen. Can't do it.
What did you call me?
Not going to happen. Can't do it.
Oh, can't do. I go on with you.
Oh.
Okay then. So I know there's magic on the door. Not much we can do about it. Let's blow it open. Got some explosives, Sadiq?
No, but I do have oil.
Oh yes, I do have a jar full of oil. A quart.
So what you see in front of you, Het, is a very solid wooden door with iron strapping across horizontally across top and bottom. Large iron hinges. This door, different from the other doors that you've struck in the house where the iron had started to rust. This door looks almost brand new. It is well maintained. It looks very, very solid. The door frame, the wall and the frame of the door is all stone. And again, everything down here looks like it's been well used. There's not a lot of dust around, but this door is very, very solid.
That would be up to the DM.
That's you can certainly try.
What are we talking about?
Is there a
Using
crack?
Mage Hand to try to open the door.
Does anyone have Mage Hand?
Yes.
Ellie does.
You can use Mage Hand to attempt to lockpick. As part of Mage Hand's ability to do those types of action, but I believe with your particular use of Mage Hand, Mr. Rogue, you are very limited to what you can do. Oh no, you're right.
It says
You can cast Mage Hand, cantrip without verbal somatic components, and make the spectral hand invisible. As a bonus action, you can shove a creature you can see within 5 feet of the spectral hand created by your Mage Hand spell. 5 feet away, unless you succeed a strength saving throw. I'll allow proper use of the Mage Hand. I mean, I find that a bit weird that you can cast it and only shove things. So yeah, so you are able to. You can use your action to control a hand. You can use the hand to manipulate an object, open an unlocked door or container, stow or retrieve an item from an open container, pour its contents out of a vial. You can move the hand up to 30 feet.
All right, let's pick the lock.
Well, you haven't tried the door. You don't even know if it's locked.
Okay, with the Mage Hand.
You're going to cast Mage Hand and try and open the door?
Yes.
Okie dokie.
As far as he can.
So, you cast Mage Hand. You're going to make it invisible or corporeal?
That doesn't really matter.
What? For flavour, come on.
Okay, visible.
Visible, so everyone can see this large spectral hand appear in front of Alessandros and slowly move towards the door. And as the hand reaches out and grasps the door handle, which again is a big, large iron ring, turns to one side. The door the handle turns, the door opens, and as the spectral hand pushes forward and opens the door, I need actually no, I don't need everyone to do anything. Everyone, you will. I'm gonna find my little thing here. You will all of you, now, where is my dice bag? From the door frame itself erupts with several tiny missiles of purple energy. Find my D4s. I didn't have them. I didn't think you'd trip this. So each of you will take, because there is there is no save for this. Each of you will take 2 missiles each. So each of you will take 5 points of force damage as 10 missiles, magic missiles, appear from the doorframe and strike each of you as the door opens. And you notice as the door opens and these missiles strike the party that the magic on the doorframe then dissipates.
Good work, Alan. That did it. You got rid of the magic.
Yeah. Oops.
Hit. Then telepathically, something new telepathically says to Fiala, I suggest keeping back from him. I mean, Shim.
I look very surprised and quickly at Het because I had no idea he could do that.
Yeah.
And I slowly take 2 steps closer to Het and away from Allie.
Nice. So as the door opens, your mage hand takes that damage too, by the way,
And disappears.
As the door opens, you guys do see not a brightly lit, but a dimly lit large room in front of you. And before we proceed, we're going to take a short break because I need to prepare some stuff. So we'll take our break there. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to make a preparation for some other things, and we'll take a small break. So we'll be right back, and we'll answer a few questions if there is any. See you soon.
We're all going to...
And I'm back. Right, so chat. Thank you very much for hanging out with us again this evening with the Dur and Durs. We are having a pretty good one so far. The battle was resolved pretty good. We've had some interesting stuff happen so far. No one's dead yet. I almost thought Het was going to be unconscious with that fire damage, but it was pretty close. But yeah, so subs. Don't forget, if you are subbed with Twitch Prime, your Twitch Prime sub does not auto renew. You have to manually do it, so just be aware of that. Also, too, as a reminder, the live gaming Discord has moved, so there's a link in the general chat on the current Discord. You need to join the BAL community Discord, which is where I'll be doing all my live gaming stuff from that Discord pretty much as of this week. You have until the end of the month to join the new Discord. This Discord will be shut down to everyone but the D&D players at the end of the month. This will be solely a D&D Discord. Nothing much else will change. We're still going to be doing the gaming and stuff. It's just where we have our Discord server. The BAL community Discord is Discord I've been an admin of for quite some time. It is just it's an alternative community, like metalheads, goths, people into tattoos, heavy metal, horror, all that sort of stuff. Generally, we don't discriminate against anybody. We don't discriminate against political views, religious views, all that sort of stuff. It's just a place you can hang out and just hang out with other like-minded people, generally. So if you want to join. If you don't want to join, don't join. No drama. But it is a cool place to meet some pretty cool people. So, and a lot of other streamers there as well. We got streamers from both Twitch and Mixer that are all members of the community. Full range of content from Fortnite right through to Division 2, World of Warcraft, all sorts of stuff. So there's something for everyone there. Some pretty cool artists within the group as well. So, but if no one has any questions about the campaign thus far, about D&D 5e in general, we'll take 5 or 10 minutes or so to answer any questions if you've got any. Otherwise, we will get back into the session for tonight. We've got about an hour to go before we finish up. Looking at what's coming, I don't know that we will complete the next part before that hour. We'll see how close we get. But depending on what happens, if we get to a specific point within the next half hour, I might call it half hour early to save getting into a combat situation like we did last week and only part way getting through it and having to remember stuff. We might finish up a little early because of that. Yeah, I know, but this fight's a little different. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, true. Well, if you guys are happy to run an extra half hour to an hour, potentially. It's Taranaki anniversary. Actually, I don't know if Crystal has. Oh, she does? Well, there you go. So if everyone's keen, if they want to resolve this, because this is a potential combat situation that you're leading into, could run for an extra half hour, maybe an hour at tops, if everyone's okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll be aiming for a 30 minutes tops, but we may run a little, yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're looking at maybe an extra hour at most, I would imagine. So no questions from the chat. So let's do it. So let's do it. So as you guys approach, give me a marching order. It's a double door, so you can get two abreast. He got breathed on. So head to the back. So who's leading in the room? You'll be in the front. Cool. So, okie dokie. So you're next to Sadiq. And Fiala and Inarie sort of middle, head at the back. So, just to give you guys a quick look-see at what you see before we before we go to anything else. This is pretty much what you see, guys. This is a large, well-lit room. You've got a couple of lit braziers, a lush red carpet lines the center of the room, with a large throne-like chair set upon a raised platform at the back. Flanking the door, you have, again, either side of the door, two large suits of armor. No? What do you mean the chat lost all sound? Or no, the Discord's still working. Okay. Give me a second, guys. No. It's got nothing I don't normally do. Give me 1 second. I'll double check the stream from my end. And so we've got the stream up there. Okay, so we have lost Discord for some reason. Why would we lose Discord to the desktop? Oh, hang on. Discord to the desktop. Oh, sorry, I fixed it. It was me.
What did you do?
I didn't unmute the desktop. So that was me.
Oh, that's okay. At least you know for next time.
Technological difficulty, it was me.
Problem lies in between keyboard and seat.
DM cast the facepalm cantrip.
He casts mute, and we were
It was
muted.
at this moment that he knew he fucked up. No.
No,
So, sorry,
actually,
chat.
He cast silence.
I cast silence across everybody, but now we fixed it. So, this is what you see, ladies and germs. You have, flanking the chair-like throne, there's two suits of armor standing static on little pedestals, both wielding battle axes. Flanking the doorway to your left and right, the same two large suits of armor. These ones are probably twice the size of the ones by the chair, but and these ones look more like statues than actual suits of armor. Next to them, you see two weapon racks with a range of weapons, shields, mace, swords, things like that. There are 4 pillars around the room running to the ceiling. The ceiling is about 35 feet in height. Again, the ceiling is cobbled stone. It's like this whole room has been purpose built. To your left, on a wooden table, you see what looks to possibly be an orc or a half orc, with a bucket underneath with the blood draining into said bucket. And to your right, on the opposite side of the room, is a large, a coffin, an oak-coloured coffin, very fancy looking, very clean. This whole room, no dust at all. And from your position, you also see a large hole in the far left-hand corner of the room. looks like the way that it's sort of it presents itself looks like something has possibly crawled out of it. The sort of dirt and stone is mounded up on the sort of edges of it. But that is what you see from your current position. On the throne, you do see a humanoid figure dressed in quite lush robes, if you will. He's just sitting, sort of hands crossed in front of him, almost like he was waiting for you. And from what you can see in front of you, the description you were given of Eric the Awesome, former guild leader and potential vampire, you perceive that this creature is exactly the creature you seek. The room is about, what are we looking at, 60 or so feet long, so Sadiq, your amulet is not doing anything at this point. But he is very much a vampire. You can tell his skin is very, very pale. His eyes are almost a brilliant red in colour. Sadiq, you would know this to be the colour of a vampire that is recently fed. Almost that bloodlust type colour. They're very brilliant blood red colour. And he's just sitting there watching you. Hasn't said anything at this point. Hasn't moved either. He's just sitting there looking at you. What are you going to do?
Mr. Awesome, I presume.
He looks forward to you, Sadiq, and sort of props his hands up. That is what some call me, yes. I was once Eric the Awesome. I'm something else now.
Is Eric just okay then?
Eric is fine. I notice the insignia of the Adventurers Guild. Am I to believe that you are who they call the Lions of Volant?
Yes, we are.
Word has spread of your accolades. I was wondering when you would make your way here. Am I to believe that you are also here to dispatch me, if you will? And he sort of grins and as he says that, and leans forward, and you see those very predominant eye teeth, long and sharp, teeth stained with fresh blood.
See, this is probably the reason why you're called Eric the Awesome. You know, you just seem to know things.
No, I was dubbed Eric the Awesome because of my fighting abilities. I was once a great warrior and head of your guild, but I'm sure you already know this. I now, as part of my adventuring, was reduced to this. But I've kept to myself all these years, only feed on those that cross my path, and as a defense mechanism more than anything. The land here is dying, however, so travelers are few and far between. But I do not venture from these lands.
The lands are dying because you're here. That's the reason why.
This much I do know, half-orc. It is a part of the curse of the undead.
Yeah, you could have ended it just by going out in the sun, right?
My sparkle.
Well, Sadiq, I believe it is. Your knowledge is limited, shall we say. I am able to roam in the sunlight, and unlike some of the myths and legends, this particular myth is not exactly true. I am able to roam in the day, albeit at limited capacity. But obviously, the night is my ally. But as I said, I'm no threat to you and yours. I keep to myself, feeding on those that cross my path and no one else. If I was able to, I would align against Cass and his ilk, as he is the one responsible for my current condition. It was a battle with him in which I lost, and his, not him directly, but one of his many spawn. That's how I contracted this
So
disease.
are you able to help us with information?
Depends on what information you seek.
And equipment.
That too.
Ah, equipment. So that is why you are here.
Yes, we want the magic items you hold.
Well, unfortunately, I do not hold such magical items, but I do know where they are. And he sort of gestures to his right and gestures to the hole in the corner. See this large thing in the corner of my room. If you were to descend to the caves beneath my home, that is where you'll find the items you seek. But beware, they are guarded by foul creatures that even I do not dare to try and attack and eat. They're disgusting. But they've made it their home. I leave them alone. They don't come up to the surface. Except when they made the hole, of course. And as you sort of look over there again, you see that there is blood and that all around that area, and there is a body of a large worm-like creature that looks like it's been there for quite a while.
Could you
What do you
help
reckon,
us?
Sadiq?
Yeah.
Could you help us defeat Cass if you had the chance?
Unfortunately, because of my blood ties to him, I'm unable to attack him directly. But I can certainly aid you as best I can. There's not... I don't know that there is much I can do apart from information. I'm not sure what information you already have, but I can tell you the weapon he carries is not a weapon to be trifled with. It is a cursed weapon, a dark weapon. To be struck with it it saps one's strength, and it has a mind of its own. So if you do indeed face Cass and fell him, do not, under any circumstances, retrieve that weapon. Leave it where it lies, or banish it from this realm. But do not touch it. I implore you, do not touch that weapon.
All right.
What can you tell us about the whereabouts of dragons?
The dragons, they're all but extinct. Obviously, Kosis has been able to breach the veils, or else you would not be here. The one they call Yildri, vanished, has not been heard of since. Rumors here and there of potential existences and hiding places, but not but rumors. Not much more information I can give you for that, but I can give you this. And he motions to his right, and to his right, out from behind one of the pillars, another creature steps forward carrying a scroll. And walks towards you. It's sort of half by shambling. Most of you guys have seen one of these before. It is a ghoul, once human, being turned this way by a vampire, not quite turning into a vampire, but becoming a lackey or slave thereof. So he moves slowly towards you guys, clutching a scroll in two hands, sort of head down, not looking up at you, not making eye contact, not making any erratic movements as to any kind of attack, but reaches forward, gets within sort of 10 or 15 feet and sort of holds the scroll up and hands it towards you guys.
I walk up and take it.
And you take it, no problems. He doesn't stop you from taking it. I am going to DM something to you.
What do you reckon? Hicks says this in telepathically to Sadiq. What do you reckon, Sadiq? Do we let this evil live on, even though he says he's not evil?
Oh, I can't DM it to you.
I'll take the scroll then.
Hang on. I will see if I can I can see if I can upload the document. Be able to.
Am I able to respond to Het telepathically since he's talking to me?
I don't know. Can you? Can they respond hit to your message
That is
or
a
not?
good question. Let me just quickly read that.
I'm not 100% sure myself.
Just read it today. No, I can only talk to them.
I'm gonna look at him and just go, that is a
There you
good
go, Trash.
question.
That is the scroll you receive. If you want to pass it on to everyone else, let me know and I'll DM it to them as well. It's a bit of a read. So sorry, with that, what was your message hit? Sorry?
He just telepathically asked Sadiq whether we should let this evil live on.
And Sadiq, what was your reaction?
Looked at Het and said, that is a good question, Het. Because I've just missed like 10 minutes worth of conversation, so I don't actually know what the fuck happened.
So he's basically said to you guys that he's willing to aid you the best he can with information, and you now have a ghoul that has just turned and headed back towards the chair that approached you with a scroll, which Alessandros took and is probably currently reading or skipping over. But it is a scroll with some information you may not already have.
Yeah, pass it on to Sadiq.
So I will give that to Sadiq as well. I'll give it to everyone because I'm assuming you guys are just gonna pass it around anyway.
Yeah.
It is
Mr.
a
Awesome.
bit of a
This is where it'll
read.
be handy when you've got when this is straight the D&D thing, you could just throw it straight.
Yeah, I'll
in the
try it straight
general
in the general chat. Yeah. Who am I missing? I think I'm missing. Where are you? Teams. You are.
I can't read it because I haven't got Ultra Office Suite.
Don't need Ultra Office Suite.
It
It's just
reckons I do.
It's just a rich text document. You should be able to read it. Just right click it and we'll download it.
Yep.
And then right click it and you should be able to just download it and read it. It's just a rich text document which all Windows 10 computers are able to read. Even
yeah,
Windows,
if
even
it
Windows
comes
7.
up with saying something, you just tell it to open it up in WordPad.
Yeah. Right click it, open with WordPad or Notepad or something like that. If you have Notepad++, you'll be able to open it in that. So I think I got everyone with that.
Are you
Oh,
able
Jesus
to help
Christ.
us
It's a
with
bit of a
the
read.
monsters in that hole if we leave you be?
I can tell you a little bit about them. I don't know that I could aid you with them.
Do they have weaknesses?
Give me 1 second. There is a few of these creatures down there. I believe you call them carrion crawlers. They are nasty creatures. They have tentacles and large teeth. I believe they deal poison damage of a sort, potentially paralyzing. So you best be aware of that and try and fight them at range instead of up close. And of course, then you have the mother to deal with, which will be where these items you seek are held. She is a different story altogether, much larger and much more formidable. I believe she has much of the same abilities, but I would almost suggest that she would definitely have more abilities than the regular crawlers that you will find.
Mr. Awesome.
Just call me Eric, please. I'm not as awesome as I once was, clearly. And he sort of holds his hand up like, just look at me. I mean, I'm not exactly the picture of awesomeness anymore.
Would this world, Eric, would this world be better off without you?
Make intimidation or persuasion, depending on what you're trying to do here. I'm not entirely sure.
Intimidation.
Intimidation? Okay, make an intimidation check.
27.
Ooh. Let me have a look here. Eric sort of leans forward and looks directly at you, his eyes blazing red, and it sort of cocks his head to one side and says, I don't know, Dragonborn. Would this world be better off without you in it? And grins back at you, bearing his rather large, sharp teeth as well.
Well, I know for a fact.
Raising an eyebrow as well.
I know for a fact that I am doing good. And what you are doing to this land is destroying it. I don't think the world would be better off with you in it. Sadiq, what's your feelings?
And with
I'm
that,
not thinking
yeah.
he's really worthwhile keeping around either.
With that statement you made just there, Eric actually stands. And he stands about 6'4" tall. He's not a skinny person. He's a human, rather well built human at that. Even through the clothing that he's wearing, you can see that the side he's got big muscular arms. And he raises a hand, and another ghoul appears from the other side of the room. So now, flanking left and right, he has two ghouls with him, and just says to you guys, turns and says to you, well, I have not had a fight in some time. If I am to be dispatched here this day, at least it'll be in battle. And with that, we're going to roll initiative, and he is going to attack.
Oh, yeah.
So, I will roll there. Alessandros, what is your initiative?
11.
11. Hit.
9.
9. Fiela.
3.
3. Oh, crap. Inari.
Oh shit, we're
11.
going to die.
11. Sadiq.
22.
22.
Oh my god.
That's where it counts.
Right, so Eric is going to make the first attack as he initiated the combat. He will... Right, where is he? He is going to vanish from sight. Almost. The moment he takes 2 steps forwards and then vanishes and reappears next to the table where the body currently lies. And we will switch over to the battle map so you guys can see what's happening. You guys are at the doorway there. Down here you have your living armor. See that there? So you got living armor at the back of the thing there. Those 2 circles next to the chair are your braziers. You got your pillars, the coffin, and then you guys are there. So he has moved from his chair to there in a movement that was too fast for you to see. And that will be his turn, and 5, 10. At this point, your amulet glows in the color of the undead, as you would expect it to. Hit, make a wisdom save for me, please.
That will be 17.
17. As you sort of watch him disappear and you're sort of looking around the room and he reappears in, next to the table there, he reaches down with one hand and grabs the neck of the whatever creature, it looks like a half-orc on the table, and literally just removes its head and spine in one swift movement, holding it up, and sort of drinks more from the dripping neck of this poor soul. The sight of this would normally frighten the average person, but you've seen enough undead and ghoulish acts as in your time being with the lions that you managed to shake off the effect and are not frightened, and you are now immune to being frightened by Eric for the next 24 hours. So with that, we go to the top of the round, which will be Sadiq. You are first up.
Okay, first off, I'm going to do the brand of castigation, which is the arcane searing brand.
Oh, I've got to have a look at this. It cracks me up. So what are we looking at here? Brand of oh my god.
It's
Castigation.
not only me.
Castigation, we'll call it. Castigation. Yeah, castration. There you go. Brand of castration.
Okay,
That's the what? That's the what?
Castigation.
So now I know where he is at all times.
You've got to damage the creature first. Whenever you damage a creature with your Crimson Right feature, you can choose to sear an arcane brand of Hemocraft magic into it. So you have to damage him first before you can brand him.
Well, I'm going to cast that on him when I go to hit him the first time.
Yep,
He's...
I'll make note of that.
Yeah. Where is he? He's there.
He is there. You are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's just outside of your range, but you've got 2 ghouls
If I was to charge at him, would I be able to get an attack after that? Just one attack?
If you were to use charge, you get one attack, yeah, because you got two attacks. I would say, yeah, you'd forego one attack. Actually, you got two attacks anyway. You just lose your bonus action because you use your bonus action to move double movement. So if you wanted to charge into him, you get both of your standard attacks.
Okay, we'll do that then. I'm going to charge into him and take a swing with Heavenly Executioner and brand him at the same.
Yeah, you got to hit him first. Let's see if you can hit him.
I'll fucking hit him.
I don't know. You might not.
Okay, first swing is 24.
He will use his reaction to parry the first attack, which will cause it to miss. As you strike down with Heavenly Executioner, he hadn't even drawn his sword yet, but with lightning speed, he draws his own sword and deflects the first attack, which kind of takes you a little bit by surprise. Your second attack.
24 again.
That will hit this time. Used his reaction. So you will indeed hit. So you sear him with your brand. Let's just have a quick read of this again. So the chat knows what's going on. So with Brand of Castigation, you choose to sear an arcane brand of Hemocraft magic. You always know the direction of the branded creature, and each time the branded creature deals damage to you or a creature you can see within 5 feet of you, the creature suffers 3 psychic damage. So he is now branded. You will always know where he is. So your damage for your second attack there.
Oh, I told you, that was 16.
Oh, 16, sorry. I was too busy talking. 16... Right, so he takes 16 points of damage.
Yeah, because he's not evil, right?
Yeah, well, he's undead, so... He'll take the extra radiant damage because he's evil as well. He's lawful evil.
Make that 21.
21? He'll take the extra damage. So as you strike out with your second strike... a lot faster than even Eric was expecting, and you catch him across the shoulder, and he takes the fire damage, the slashing damage, and that radiant damage kicks in and sparks off him as well, and he you'll pay for that, and he readies himself ready for another attack. So that is you. Next up is the ghouls. The ghouls have a missing ghoul. Another ghoul appears from behind that pillar there and charges into combat with you, Sadiq. This one there. So the first ghoul attacks you, Sadiq, and will attack you with... Going to try and bite you. Rolls a natural 20 on the bite attack. So you will take 18 points of piercing damage as the creature bites into your shoulder, the joint between the shoulder and the upper arm of your armor, sinking its teeth in. It's pretty nasty. That will do for that one. The other two have moved. They can't really do anything. They don't have the ability to dash because they're pretty slow. Next up is Eric. Eric's turn in the combat order. He is going to strike back at you, Sadiq. He is going to... What's he going to do? He's going to attempt to bite you as well. And gets a 19 to hit on the bite attack. So he is going to grapple you as well. So you'll take 7 points of necrotic damage from the bite and 7 points of piercing damage.
Quick question.
Yes.
I'm resistant to necrotic damage.
You'll take half of that, so you'll take 3 points.
So it's 3 points plus what?
7 points of piercing. You also need to make a strength save to resist the grapple.
16.
You do save against the grapple, so you are not grappled by him, but you'll also need to make a charisma saving throw.
They're my best rolls. That would be a 6.
6. Ooh, okay. So you are now charmed by Eric as the venom from the vampire courses through your veins. You cannot attack the charmer, so you cannot attack Eric for the next minute. And you've become infatuated with him, in fact. So you cannot attack him until the charm effect is worn off, and the charmer has advantage on ability checks to interact socially with the creature. Okay.
And takes 3 points of psychic damage.
And takes 3 points of psychic damage because he hurt you. Right. So yeah. So on your next turn, or for the next minute, you are charmed and cannot attack him. If anything attacks him, you would be almost compelled to attack them back because you are now infatuated with the vampire. Right, so next, Alessandros, and Inarie, you're up after that.
Okay, so I'm going to attack the one out by itself.
The ghoul. So you're going to shoot it with your bow, or you're going to run up and attack it?
Run up and attack with me rapier.
Or rapier. Fall into combat. And attack away with your rapier.
Nat 20.
I think that hits. I'm pretty sure. So you do not get sneak attack, but you will get the the maximum dice for your weapon plus what you roll. So I believe it'll be 12 plus whatever you roll on a d8.
Yeah, say again.
You get max weapon damage, which is 1d8 plus 4, so that's 12. Okay. So roll another d8.
It says +3 for me.
Well, whatever your plus is.
Okay.
So you're hitting with your rapier. You need to do 5. Some studying too.
5.
So 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 points of damage as you strike out with your rapier, impaling this ghoul through the stomach. It sort of goes and looks down at you and sort of grabs your hand and pulls your hand out of its chest and sort of then rocks back and looks up at you. Its face is sort of slumped once, almost like it had a stroke, but it's just it looks nasty. It's drooling. It's got its claws are seeping some kind of ooze from it. It's a nasty looking creature. So you do have a bonus action if you wish to attack again with your offhand, if you are indeed carrying something in your offhand.
I'll use that bonus action to disengage.
You have 10 feet of movement left to disengage. Which direction would you like to move?
Back up to the others. Sorry, Sadiq.
10 feet back that way, you disengage, and as you go to move away, the ghoul sort of reaches out to try and attack you, but you're just way too quick, and it doesn't stand a chance. So, Inarie, it is your turn, and hit your on board after that.
As a bonus action,
yes,
I am going to whip out 3 arrows and apply holy oil to them.
As a bonus action?
Yeah.
You'll be able to do 1 arrow.
Okay, well, that'll do.
You won't be able to do all 3. If you wanted to use your action and your bonus action, you could apply it to all 3.
No.
But as a bonus action, I'd allow 1.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll do 1.
Okay. So you still get you'll still get 3 attacks as this is the first attack of the round. You have 40 feet of movement if you wish to use it.
No, I'll stay where I am.
Stay where you are, no problem.
And I'm gonna aim at the vampire at Eric the Awesome.
Where you are, you can definitely hurt him.
Now I'm gonna try sharpshooter.
You can try sharpshooter, so -5 on your first. Just roll your first attack.
21 to hit.
21, that will hit. So what we'll do, just so we can keep track of everything here, which are you going to use your holy oil on the first arrow?
I'm going to use a holy oil on the first arrow, so that adds a d6.
So add a d6 to the damage of your first arrow.
24 damage with that.
24 total damage. How do you get 24?
Yep. 6 and 4 is 10.
Oh, I get the +10 as well. Yeah, I forgot about the +10.
Oh yeah, 20 damage, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Don't know where. Oh, plus d4, so yeah, 24.
Why are you adding a d4?
I mean, a 4. 1d8 plus 4 to hit.
Oh, woman.
Damage. Oh my god. With my arrow, I get 1d8 plus 4.
Yes. So, what?
24 to hit. 24 damage for the first arrow.
Fucking hell. Right.
Second one, I think.
Hang on. Right, 24.
Second one, I think, is a miss with 19 to hit.
No, that does hit.
Oh, okay. Wow. So that's 16 damage.
You don't add the oil to that one.
No, I didn't.
Oh no, are you still using sharpshooter?
I'm still using sharpshooter.
I hate sharpshooter. That's a stupid feat.
And then the third one is a 21 again to hit.
They both hit.
Why is this stupid feat?
Because you just never miss with it. With a plus, she's already got a plus
22
9.
to hit. 22 damage with the third arrow.
I think she's fudging a dice, but
I rolled 2 17s and a 15, so
time to get new dice because you haven't rolled under a 15 all night.
yeah, I have. Initiative, I did.
True. So 3 arrows find their mark. One with some extra radiant damage just for good measure. Eric is looking a little unhealthy at this point with, again, Inarie's arrows finding their mark. Sadiq, you're rather impressed with the grouping because they're all chest shots, and finding the kink between his armor at that range is actually pretty impressive, and the spark of radiant damage just for good measure. Do you wish to move, Inarie?
No, stay where I am.
Stay where you are. So, you're up next.
Hit activates the crystals that within his loot to amplify it, the addition you gave me.
Yep.
And he chases the sigil in the air, a circle with chain, and then says Vic Bolt. And he fires the equivalent of Witch Bolt, 3rd level at Eric the Awesome.
What is the roll needed for that?
It's an attack roll.
Attack roll?
Yes. Natural 20!
Shit! You guys are rolling so well tonight. Natural 20 again, guys. This is going to be crazy. Well, considering he'd already, with his particular spell modifier he just used, it was already going to be a critical hit. So what I'll do, what's the damage naturally on that spell?
36.
No, what's the just the
Sorry,
damage naturally?
You mean naturally as in...
Just its regular damage. Just its
Yes.
So it's 1d12.
Yeah, 3d12 at 3rd level.
At third level 3d12. So I'll add an additional d12 for the natural 20. So make it a 4d12 and double that to its maximum. So that'd be what, 48.
48 points of damage.
Shit, you don't even have to roll for it, man. 48 points of damage straight off. Maximum damage from that. And with that, what kind of damage is that? Lightning damage. Holy
It's
crap.
lightning damage, correct.
Explain exactly how Eric the Awesome is awesome no more. With that
Son of a
massive
It
attack.
says,
Holy shit.
it holds the symbol of the chain forward from his loot, and he says, "By the Steel Lady and the combined force of the Rattlehead, I banish your evil. We shall see, nor hear, nor speak no more your name." And lightning arcs over top of everything, across the room and down into his cranium.
And as it strikes his head, the lightning courses through Eric's body, and Sadiq, you see the armor that he's wearing as well. He's wearing a chainmail shirt, and it just lights up with electrical energy. His body tenses, his muscles contract, and his biceps tear away from the body. They contract so hard, his muscles tear away from his arms. His eyes explode, and electrical energy as that lightning sort of arcs out from his eyeballs, and he then catches fire. His clothing bursts into flames as he staggers backwards and falls backwards over the table behind him, and the whole body topples over the table and falls over to the other side, writhing and screaming in pain as the flames engulf this once undead entity. And within a short period of time, there is nothing but ash, a pile of ash where he once lay. Wow. That's all I can say.
That's insane.
Wow. Wow. Well, that screwed up a whole lot of my plans. With that, as you guys watch as Eric the Awesome disintegrates into a pile of ash, the ghouls one by one topple over, no longer moving, as if they were controlled by an undead entity. Sadiq, the moment that Eric first is struck by the lightning, you are horrified that your friend, this creature you are enamored with, has been struck with such a blow. But the moment the unlife leaves the body and is reduced to ash, you blink a couple of times and you come to your senses, and it's like, wait, what? And you look over and all you see is this pile of smouldering ashes, and you shake the effect of the charm spell that had taken over your body. And with that, we are out of initiative. Damn you guys.
My turn yet?
Bugger!
We are out of initiative, guys. The initiative is over.
And why did you say we were going to go an extra hour?
I didn't expect that. That attack from Inarie is what tipped the scale, but that 48 damage, almost basically a double crit from hit, using the spell from his loot, the advantage, the crit from his loot, but rolling a natural 20 on top of it. I had to give him an extra d12. I mean, that would have been not fair to not allow that.
Wow.
The best thing with that spell is once you hit with it, it's the concentration. I don't have to roll again next turn. If he was still alive, I just roll the damage again next turn.
Yeah. I mean, you get the crit on the initial strike. Everything after that's just additional d12 damage.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but still.
But
so
that was amazing. Wow. I'm not going to tell you what would have happened if he hadn't have died, because I had other things planned. But wow.
Oh, sorry.
As if you watch Critical Role, as Matt Mercer would have done, to pick up the piece of paper and throw it over his shoulder. So, well, that fucks that idea. That screwed that. But
Head flexes like Neo in Matrix after he destroys the Smiths.
So that encounter is gone. Damn it. Well done, team. Well done. That was
High fives all around.
That was awesome. So we are out of initiative.
The Sierra for loot.
Looting the area. Obviously, as you walk around, the ghouls, you search the bodies. They have nothing on them. They're wearing nothing but tatty old sort of linen pants. There's nothing really of any value with them at all. Eric's body is nothing but ash. His clothing, his weapon, everything was reduced to ash. His sword, it was just a standard long sword, but with the amount of energy that's gone through it, it's partially melted and unusable. the amount of lightning that coursed through his body and arced through the ground, virtually destroying everything, and there's nothing left. You search the rest of the room. In the weapon racks, there are 3 long swords, 2 standard shields, and a battle axe. But nothing else in the room.
Who has the bag of holding? Should we pop those in there?
No, we're not putting swords in there.
Why not?
Why?
Are they cheap?
They can rip through the bag of holding.
They can, well, they could do, but they essentially disappear into a pocket dimension when you put them in there. But it's up to you.
All right, we'll do it.
I mean, I'm not going to make you roll to see if it pierces the bag. I mean, you're going to place it in there carefully enough that it wouldn't do that.
Is Head's detect magic still going or not?
And it only lasts a minute, so it would have been
last 10 minutes.
10 minutes. When did you cast it? When you first entered the room? Or was it out in the hallway, wasn't it?
Back by the door, by the hallway, so it must be getting pretty close there.
I'd say it would still be active. I mean, that combat just did not last very long at all. So I would say it's still active. 30-foot range. From where Head is, you're not picking up anything magical at this point.
Well, it's more of any of those weapons.
Oh, the weapons.
Showing arcane.
Okay. The battle axe. If Head wanders over towards the battle axe, is showing magical properties.
Head sees the battle axe, and it's showing magical properties, Sadiq.
Keep a note on that. We'll need that to be identified.
So if someone wants to put that in their bag separate of everything else, or just someone make a note that you have a battle axe to be identified.
I got it.
Sweet, because Head cannot carry it anymore.
Did anybody else just think a little of Namaris right there?
I did.
No, not at all. She's a traitor.
Well, Inari wouldn't, because Inari's never met her.
Who said that? I didn't hear. Who are we talking about?
And I think we'll call it there, because we're bang on 10:30, and I didn't expect that combat to go that quickly. Otherwise, we probably could have gone for another hour had things gone slightly differently. Damn rangers, bards. But we will call that combat there. XP. Better give you fellas some XP for that, shouldn't I? So we've got two combats to resolve for XP tonight. So I hate you guys. They ruined a really good encounter.
That's really upset you now, hasn't it?
It's like, what?
Namaris would be very upset for you too.
Critical hits can really screw up.
Oh, dude, your guys' rolls tonight were just nasty. It was really well done.
I was actually looking through my things, and I could have actually blood cursed him and added another hit die to kill him.
Potentially, yeah. What have they done? Hang on, I gotta check something here. Oh, they have changed it. God damn it! Gonna take me a second to Oh no, it won't. I've figured it out. Okay, so your XP will be wow. No, they have balled this up. I have to put that into the forums. I mean, when I'm running the encounter now, it doesn't no longer give me the XP for everyone. So you have to give me a second, guys.
Bit of mathing, eh?
Yeah, well, like it's got XP there. I'm gonna have to try and figure this out manually, I think. So, okay,
Yeah,
so
it
there we
wouldn't
go.
help that actually we killed some of them in the previous
Yeah,
episode.
no,
now.
I was going to resolve all XP in one go, which I can't do. Now I have to actually calculate stuff, so you have to give me a second.
Hit
Math.
telepathically says, boo, in Allie's head.
Alessandro's roll a wisdom save.
Give me a sec. So wisdom, you say?
Yep.
Yeah. 9?
You are now frightened the next minute. You have no idea where that came from, and it scared the crap out of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Het.
I didn't do a damn thing.
You're not entirely sure where it came from either.
I know.
I mean, you'd recognise Het's voice if you didn't disguise it. So that was Castle Grounds, Eric the Awesome. Another... Oh, no, it wasn't. Second guys. Getting there.
Het gets out his compass and starts walking around the room towards the hole.
4,600. Divided by 5. 2 grand. We'll make it 2,200 XP each for those 2 encounters. We will also... No, not 28k. Nice try. So 2,200 XP for the combat, and we'll add bonus 1,000 for RP. So 3,200 total. And we will call the evening there, ladies and germs. So thank you very much for hanging out with us again on this awesome adventure of Paradym Bold, where the team quite deftly screwed with the DM's plans. With a lot of how many nat 20s did we get tonight?
Fucking shit.
9 was the end.
I've rolled at least 3.
9? Holy crap.
Going by the count that I was doing, but
Yeah.
I could be off.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to have to start marking that down myself, actually. So we'll start counting natural 20s. So 9 natural 20s tonight. No natural 1s that I can remember. So, again, another great night in the realm of Paradym. Good for the Lions, dispatching yet another undead being.
What was the CR rating on him?
It was homemade. He was like 9 or 10. It was based on a hang on, I'll tell you in a second. My counters. He was. Oh, all I had to do was click on there. Damn it. So they've just moved it. He was only a CR rating 8, so I probably should have made him... I'm going to have to make my CR ratings a little higher from now on, looking at the damage that you guys are putting out now.
Hey, welcome to
Yeah,
my
and then-
world, Ian. Change planes, weak characters.
Yeah, so
And
it's
then
definitely going to make me...
roll like shit anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to have to adjust certain creatures to accommodate. But now I found the XP. It was 1,180 XP for that one. And yeah, so I was about right. 2,200. But yeah, so well done, team. A well-deserved battle there. So, until you have shitty rolls, yeah. But we're going to call it there anyway. Thank you for hanging out with us, guys. I'm probably going to stick around and maybe play a game for a bit. If you want to hang out with me, that's cool. I'm not sure what I'm going to play yet, but hang out in the Discord if you want to hang around. We'll do something. But we'll call it there for tonight's show. We will see you again next week, where we pick up episode 29 of Paradym Bold, the Carrion Crypts. So I'm assuming that these guys want to find some pretty cool shit, so they're going to be heading beneath the Bastion. So we'll see you guys.
Let's just ignore that
Next
bit too, and he has to throw another bit of paper away.
Well, you can. It's up to you. But I've now got plans in case you decide to do that. So, so stuff you. Right, guys, that is us.
Like that,
we will see you next week. I'll be back tomorrow with some gaming. So come and hang out if you want to come hang out. World of Warcraft tomorrow. We're going to play. We're going to play some Warcraft Classic. I've been playing a little bit of that lately and really enjoying being back in Vanilla WoW. Playing a Destruction Warlock. Rocks.
Wicked.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you later.